Yo, what is up, everyone in Fan to Fan land? How is everyone doing? Hoping everybody is safe. Hoping everybody is healthy. Hoping as everybody is good to go on this Wednesday, April 1st. This is not April Fool's Day. This is the real deal. Fan to Fans in the house. We are here live. Thanking everybody who's joining us. Thanking everybody who is supporting us. First and foremost, we're going to get into a bunch of topics, talking more coronavirus, because unfortunately that is the biggest story in the world, and it is affecting the sports world so much. Also going to talk another arrest. We're talking another arrest that is happening to, yes, one of the best UFC fighters in the world. Not me. I'm not arrested. Calvin's not arrested. Nobody here is arrested. But he was arrested for the 5th time. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. We are also going to talk about the NBA wanting to come back, players wanting to play, but let's put the brakes on. They're not really wanting to play unless certain things are happening, and there's a little bit of disagreement about that. Ownership, I will give credit, is trying to look out for the fans and look out for the players, and there's some agreement. There's something. Want to hear what Calvin has to say about that. Want to hear what I have to say about that. And I want to tell you guys what I have to say about that. Then we are going to get into the fact that I think it's a little shameful. Something we mentioned last week even got more shameful when we talk about one arena/stadium offering coronavirus emergency medical help. Only one out of the dozen or half dozen that we have in the tri-state area. That is what is happening. And then it is this weekend, WrestleMania, a 2-day event, although I really don't think that it needs to be 2 days, but it is 2 days. We're going to give our predictions and we're going to talk about it. In the meantime, if you're joining us and you can, ever so politely, hit the like button right underneath the video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. I believe we just got a brand new subscription. We are one away from 100 subscribers for the channel, so we want to get to 100. Our goal is to get to 1,000. We're so far away, but every little bit counts. We need everybody to subscribe, everybody to like, follow us at Fan2Fan Show on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We are there. But before we go into a little bit of monologue-esque, before we talk a little coronavirus, gonna bring in Calvin. What is up, my dude? How are you doing on the West Coast?
You know what? I'm maintaining, man. I'm thriving and surviving. I would find other rhyming words, but I ain't that quick with the freestyle. You know what I mean? That's why I was never a rapper. But I'm doing good, man.
I love that. I love that. I mean, I just want to tell you, you are always you're in a good vibe. You are always in a good vibe that I love to death. That's why you've been my friend for 20 plus years. That's why you are my best friend. That's why, by the way, I wanted you on the show because of the energy that you bring. This man, I don't know if you guys know, this man actually makes me more positive. I don't know if that's possible, but I try to be as positive as possible. But yes, he does that.
Hey, to be the man, you got to be friends with the man. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. Woo! Ric Flair, baby. So, really want to give a quick shout out to a couple of people in the chat. Dennis, my dude, what is up, man? Good to see you on. We are on Mr. Daba. Walter is back. God, we missed you, Walter. Walter. And for those who don't know, let me say him by his government name, Mr. Callahan Adam, a.k.a. Daba. I believe I'm saying it right. If I'm saying it wrong, Adam, ream me in the chat. Anybody else who's watching, let's get it in the chat. More people are going to draw it in. We are going to have a bunch of people come in. But in the meantime, we got some really interesting topics. So, I'm going to get into a little bit of monologue because at the end of the day, I like to kick off on a monologue. So, we are in day 20-ish of coronavirus land. I would say about day 12 to 15, I lost track of the days on quarantines, staying home, people doing things that they want, not getting to do the things they want to do. No dinners, no clubbing, no outside drinking, no bars, no having shots with the boys or the friends or anything like that. Stuff that we all love to do, we are not doing. But we're doing it for the better safe than sorry situation. This is what is happening. This is society right now, and people need to get used to it because at the end of the day, this is for your own safety. This is so that you are not one of the people getting sick. There are so many videos of so many dead bodies in hospitals all across the country, and especially here in New York. It is the epicenter. It is a sad tragedy, and we want everybody to be safe than sorry. But sports has been affected like no other. Sports has been affected to the point where, as we've said many times, sports for us is an escape. Sports is a way for us to maintain our sanity in the day-to-day stress. And we all know we have such stressful days, whether it's girlfriends, whether it's boyfriends, husbands, wives, whether it's family members, whether it's jobs, whether it's careers, whether it's financial situations. We all go through the stress. But sports is that gateway to escape where at the end of the day you can watch a ball game, eat some food, and feel good. We haven't had that. And I said it last week, and I'll say it again. Sports needs to come back when it's ready to come back, when all the players can be safe, when all the fans can be safe. But recently, a couple of major cancellations. Cancellations to the point where we saw major tournaments, major playoffs, major championships being canceled. Wimbledon, Euro 2020, Europa 2020, all of these major events canceled. And they should have been canceled. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to have casualties. We love sports. Sports is supposed to be about joy. Sports is supposed to be about the fantasticness of humanity. Competition, the grit, the grime, and everything. And at the end of the day, a spectacular moment that makes us get up, cheer, scream, and do all the things we do. That's what sports is supposed to be. But at the end of the day, society is not what it's supposed to be. I was walking home early, and if anybody follows me at RealJFrancis on Twitter and Instagram, and Joseph Francis on Facebook, Joseph Russell Francis on Facebook, haha, you didn't know that was the middle name. I put a video up, and that video was very clear. The video was very, very clear that there are people still in parks, still playing ball, playing handball, playing, running, jogging, and we understand that some people need to get out and get exercise. We love sports, and like I said in the video, guess what? You follow the video on social media, one of the things I say is I love ball. I love basketball. I love handball. That's one of my loves from high school. I love to go jogging, believe it or not, contrary to popular belief of all the people personally in my life. But here's the bottom line. I'm not out there playing ball. I'm not out there playing handball. I'm not out there running with people next to me because at the end of the day, I think I have a measure of safety and intelligence. Dare I say fear that is making me not want to do what I normally would do. And here's the thing. If you're endangering your life for 5 to 10 minutes of thrill playing basketball, well, guess what? Do what the NBA players are doing, who are itching to get back. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. They're itching to get back on the court. Do what they do. Play some good old-fashioned 2K20. I got the game a couple weeks ago. It's amazing. And I am going to play it. And I'm going to satisfy that itch by getting into that. The fact of the matter is that while we are here in sports, and there are major events being canceled, and people are supposed to be home, to go outside of your house at this time and age is selfish, it's endangering other people, and truthfully, it's endangering yourself. And I think a lot of people would like self-preservation. That game of basketball on the court, in the playground, as much as we love it, it could wait until the summertime. It could wait until things are better. It could wait until we're not supposed to be home. And I don't understand why people haven't gotten that message. Guess what? They need to get the message. And they don't have a choice now because every playground in New York City is shut down. Effective 9 p.m., about an hour and 10 minutes ago. Sports will be back, as my co-host Calvin has said, as I have said on the extra points, it will be back. But when it's ready to be back, it's going to be back better than ever because we're going to miss it so much. So, I bring in Calvin after that monologue. After saying everything that I say, what do you think about that?
I will say that in 25 years, I think the only place I ever saw you jog was the Dunkin' Donuts. But no shade. No shade.
You know what? I'm going to tell you right now. You're actually true. I don't jog a lot, but I have been trying to do it recently. So, yeah.
No shade. And I feel you.
I'm not getting younger.
Hey, and follow us, right? Calvin Brimfield Jr. for me on everything. Actually, it's Easy Breezy 80 on Instagram. But I will say, hey, follow me, but not in real life. This is only one of those times. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, being the social butterfly that I am, having to be so isolated from people is really killing me. But I gotta understand, the severity of what could happen, and understand that. I was talking about this earlier. The funny thing is, being Americans, we so used to our freedoms that overnight this thing took away every bit of freedom that we had, or so it was seen to a lot of people. So I try to understand that maybe, for some people it's just harder for them to grasp things being taken from them, especially as adults. I don't think we like it. But overall, we need to be safe. We do need to take the lead, some of us, of the people that we will follow.
Yeah.
I think one of the interesting things is we usually turn to sports in times like this, but this is even taking sports away. So now we got to dig deeper into something that most of us never really had to dig into. But I think we can do it, man. This feels like the end of the first quarter, start of the second quarter of what is looking to be a blowout, but we know it's going to be a great comeback. But it don't feel good when you into quarter two and Corona's still stepping on our necks.
I agree with that. Corona is stepping on our necks. That is true. But I just want to tell you, I did jog to a Dunkin' Donuts one time. That was literally, I was starving. Remember the old neighborhood? Literally, that was the only thing open in the middle of the night, and I ran 6 blocks and got Dunkin' Donuts. That was East New York, baby. That's what that was. So, for those who don't know, East New York. Oh yeah. Once again, hit like in the YouTube underneath the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and make sure that you are chatting and saying hello, because in the chat, that's where I think more fun happens in the chat than it does other times. That being said, getting into it, and I hope, like we said, we want everybody to be safe and sorry. Better safe than sorry. That is the motto. So, going right into it. Last week, Mr. John Bone Jones Jr., UFC middle heavyweight, one of the best fighters ever to don the UFC crown, has had multiple titles, got arrested. And got arrested for the 5th time. And basically, going all the way back to 2014, so many different things happened. And some of these were not arrests. They were just violations based on the UFC laws and suspensions and things of that nature. Well, he got arrested for basically a DUI and got arrested for having a gun in the car that was not licensed. And at the end of the day, this man is one of the greats of all time. This man is a beast. This man knows how to fight. This man knows how to do the things he knows how to do. And then he keeps having problems like this. He keeps having problems where he's taking mud shots, where he's in front of a judge, where he's basically having to deal with this. And it's like a talent that is wasted, because he is a monster. He is such an amazing talent. He is such a good fighter. But and he's a good dude in real life, just keeps making bad choices. And I just asked, the question I ask is, what is the point, Calvin, where we got to look at this situation and say, Mr. John Bone Jones Jr., when are you going to not have any more chances? He got a slap on the wrist from this judge, had a DUI. It was his 3rd offense in turn with the law. And like, come on now, when does it end? What do you think, man?
I don't know, man. It seemed like the only thing my man can't beat is his criminal record.
Wow. That was mean.
Hey, I'm just reporting the facts, brother. You had it up there. I mean, he beating everybody in the octagon, and I guess in all semi-seriousness, I don't know what he got going on in his personal life. It would seem to me, as a normal, regular dude, that when you can excel so well in this craft, obviously he's gifted to do something like this, because, I mean, me and you ain't hopping in that ring, not for real. We might get on a PlayStation and get on the sticks and talk some noise. But, yeah. I mean, he probably just dealing with something, I don't know, but hopefully he get the help that he needs. Take this time off, man, and because the sports of UFC is better off with him than the courtroom is with him.
It's so true. And here's the thing that I've said a million times. We actually had a story up on social media about a month and a half ago that this was his redemption. He had the fight. He won the fight. He did it. He dominated the fight. He's still got the talent. But it reminds me of Mike Tyson. It reminds me of Mike Tyson's Iron Mike. Iron Mike at one point could not be beat. There was not a person on this planet that could beat that man. He was knocking dudes out in 45 seconds or less. And then the law, and we know the rape charges with Robin Givens, and you know, drug charges and multiple arrests, and then all of that stuff. And his prime years, he was fighting in his prime years, and then all the law trouble kept him where he was going down. And I remember saying this so many times. I said, John Bone Jones, he's just as dominant as Mike Tyson, and he keeps getting in trouble with the law. And when you, like, I don't understand how you could sit there and have this amount of domination, and then he's getting paid. He's like one of the top earners. And then that brings me back to another fighter that constantly has problems with the law, Conor McGregor. I'm wondering if these dudes aren't getting hit in the head too much. Because is there some sort of neuro damage to their brain that's causing concussions? Is this the you know, the medical condition that's affecting so many NFL players where they're getting hit in the head so much and they just act up? And I'm wondering, is that the case, man?
You know what? I think it definitely probably does play into it. It's interesting, though, when you see a lot of the stories of these great professionals, no matter what sport it is, but usually you see it in like your UFCs and your footballs, and you see the tough upbringings, and you feel for them, right? And they have that because it makes for the great story, and it makes you feel for them, and it makes them relatable.
Yeah.
But then, like, for a cat like me, I look at the things that it took for me to overcome. Now, granted, I'm not John Jones, right? I don't have millions of people there. I don't have the pressure. But I think there's a lot of that mixed in, you know what I mean? Social pressure to continue to be on top. Probably don't want to, you know, dealing with what some of us dudes deal with, right? Not wanting to seem weak, not wanting to seem like we don't have control of things.
A lot of pride there, a lot of pride and ego.
And I think that is also combining with those things. I'm never going to discount that, although he's a great fighter and his record says that he's a great fighter, right? And you can't deny that. He probably took, you know, a couple too many hits to the head.
See, that's my thing, and that's another thing that they said. And I remember the report that I remember that stands out to me. And by the way, Jeannie's in the house, gonna see her for a happy hour tomorrow virtually because she's in Colorado. Hello, but I remember seeing that situation with Aaron Hernandez when they did the autopsy for Aaron Hernandez. One of the things they said that there was CPT damage to his brain. And I remember saying that, and there's so many, and Junior Seau was another situation. He committed suicide. He went nuts. He was like, dude was off his rocker before he committed suicide. And I'm wondering if that's CPT. I'm wondering if there's some science there, if there's some neuroscience. Oh my God. I might have to have our producer research if there's some sort of damage. Could it be damage to the brain that would have caused a tremendous anger or psychotic behavior?
Yeah, you get hit enough times in the head, and absolutely, you're going to have personality changes, memory loss. Yeah.
Seeing things?
You can see things that aren't there. You can have definitely a lot of personality changes happen from head trauma.
This is what I'm saying. So we're having a situation where we have all these fighters, and here's the thing. It's not going to change. Boxing has been around since the 1800s and before. UFC has been around, and mixed martial arts has been around for 40 years, and maybe even longer. And I might be wrong. But at the end of the day, what you're having is these fighters who are losing their schooznit. I don't want to say it because then we'll get censored on YouTube. But they're losing their stuff, and they're basically coming out and committing all these acts and doing these things. And no, John Bones Jr., let's get this very straight. He hasn't committed any violent crimes. There was an assault charge, which was dismissed because at the end of the day, you found out that there was a video showing that he wasn't even in the room. But Conor McGregor, if we showed that video, this dude in the Barclays Arena, if I'm not mistaken, he took a grate and threw it at a bus because he was trying to get, like, to the guy that was on the bus to start a fight. And I remember saying it at the time, and I said, is this a promotional situation? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's Dana White just saying, let's do this and we'll get, a little bit of publicity for the situation. But there are so many things. Aaron Hernandez, to me, was the eye-opener that CPT, damage to the brain, is real. Everything he did was, like, could there be something linked to this brain damage that is causing violent acts, and what should it be done about it? If you had all the power, Calvin, what would you do to John Bone Jones? Like, has all these situations. Would you allow him to keep fighting, or would you say you need to get help?
Well, I would definitely see within power, try to mandate, that he needed to get help, and to be able to prove that whatever he's doing outside of the octagon, is not going to affect what's happening inside the octagon. And I know that's a slippery statement to have because he could do some things that don't affect it. But I mean, in reality, sometimes you got to protect people from themselves, almost a la Pete Carroll. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Create an environment where you protect people from themselves. But I think ultimately, if he is dealing with something that's a lot more serious than what we're seeing, I feel like for his own good, right? Because even when he retires, they give so much for us as fans. You know what I mean? Whether you like UFC or not, or baseball, basketball, these these quote unquote contact is what I meant to say, not combat.
Of course, of course.
But you know what I mean? They give so much, sacrificing their bodies for us. I mean, and themselves, right, in their personal accolades. But you definitely don't want it to be just that, and you want them to lead happy and healthy, productive lives. At least I do as a fan.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't wish anything to happen with that. Like, I want this man. This man is to me, he's already greatness. And for them to have a situation when it's there, going through the incidents is, he tested positive for cocaine. Not even weed or like drinking. Whatever. No, he tested positive for cocaine, which means he was in possession of cocaine. That is never good. A felony hit and run charge. Suspended for a failed drug test. We don't even know what the drug was. Another failed drug test a year later. And pled no contest to disorderly conduct. That was the situation where they were saying he assaulted somebody. It got dropped down to a disorderly conduct. And then this is the sixth. And I'll stand corrected. I thought it was the fifth. It's the sixth situation. Arrested for a DUI and a weapons charge. And the judge basically slapped him on the wrist and said, hey, you're gonna just be dismissed, released on your own reconnaissance. This is the thing. If I was Dana White, I'd pull him inside and say, dude, you need to get some help. We need to get you some help. We need to put you in front of a therapist. We need to get you in drug rehabilitation because you're doing stuff that's not happening. You're being reckless with your life. We're not going to let you fight until you get your stuff together. And that's it. And that's what I would say. And if he chooses to run with that and take that opportunity to get his life together, it's great. To me, as a commissioner and an owner of a league, would care too much about the players. The business part wouldn't matter to me because I care about people. So I think for me, I would definitely say you're not as great as you are not going to do that anymore.
No, I agree with you. Unfortunately, I don't know what it's like to have to run a business that big, or but I do believe that Wu-Tang said it best. You know what I mean? It looks like in these situations, cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money.
Dollar bill, yo. I love that. That was actually my second CD ever. Was the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers of Death CD. Like, 92, I believe, 91, 92. Yeah.
And Heidi brought it up. You know what I mean? With the great question, why do they even drive themselves, or you know what I mean, you afforded these luxuries, and I don't know, maybe they still want to feel like they're human.
Yep.
Right, like they're regular, because I know sometimes they just get in this mode where they just want to be a normal person. They don't want all of that, but you got to suck all of that up. You got to think beforehand. I think it's adrenaline and all that other stuff, man. There's probably so many factors into it, hotheads thinking they on top of the world, testosterone, this, that. It's hard to say, but it's sad, really.
It is very sad. It is very sad. And here's the thing: we hope that he gets his stuff together. Like I said, he's one of the greats. Bottom line is that we are going to make sure that we continue to support him. I love John Bones Jones. I'm a fan. I hope he gets his life together. So, if you haven't hit the like button, if you haven't hit the situation button, we are going to tell you that to please try to do that. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and it should be good. Moving on, we got a bit of I would say a situation going on in terms of what's happening with the NBA. So the NBA now is been gone for 11 days, I believe. It was actually maybe a little bit more than 21 days. The NBA has been gone, almost 3 weeks, a little bit over 3 weeks, as a matter of fact. And we were on the air live 3 weeks ago when this happened, and exactly to the moment, it was breaking news. NBA suspended. They had the positive result. All the players who have tested positive are now recovering and better from this virus. So it is amazing that this has happened. That being said, I will tell you right now that there's a lot of talk of the NBA wanting to come back. The NBA wants to come back. They want to have a stadium. They want to have a season. And multiple players have said that they want to have that season to make sure that this happens. So the article basically talks about that this is going in is that the NBA is considering resuming the 2020 season in a single site. They're basically trying to figure out if it could be like a tournament, kind of the way the NCAA does their March Madness, where they have single sites, where they have arenas that are going to be like for the entire NBA, and they'll finish off the season and things of that nature. Here's the bottom line. They don't know what they're going to do. There have been some definite, like, a lot of options on the table. They're worried about revenue. They're worried about money. They're worried about losing the fame of the NBA. Obviously, I don't think that's going to happen. I think when they come back, it's going to be even more exciting. But at the end of the day, there have been a bunch of proposals that have happened. Now, that being said, one of those proposals by who I think is the best commissioner in the league, I think, Adam Silver, is basically saying, what if we have one city? Well, a lot of people don't like that, because that means for the better part, a lot of the players don't like the fact that they're going to have to go away for a couple of weeks, especially in a time where this virus is still going to be circulating. Adam Silver says he understands players don't want to be away from their family. The player that spoke out the most about it was LeBron James. He said, I don't want to go away from being, quote, I don't want to go away from being my family at a time like this, unquote. At the end of the day, he's absolutely right. I wouldn't want to be away from my family at this time. But what else are you going to do? What are you going to try to do at a situation like this? What are you going to try to do bringing the season back? We got the Pelicans and JJ Redick, who's on the Pelicans, who actually said that his team wants a chance to get into the playoffs. So they got to play those last 2 weeks of the season. I think it's fair. But here's the thing, Calvin. You know what's amazing? Like, the NBA is at a situation where they were close to the playoffs, and they have so many storylines that are just going amazing and just being great. What do you talk about? You know, what plan would you have? Would you go with getting rid of this regular season? Would you go with having one arena that is going to, that is going to be a situation where all the teams are going to have to come to that city and just stay there for a couple of weeks? Or would you just say, you know what, let's just play the regular way, or something else that we're not mentioning? What would you do?
I think my first point of order would be, to talk with these guys and go, let me start by saying this. So we get that in times of need in sports figures, whether it be basketball, baseball, whatever the case may be, but I know we're talking specifically NBA, have been like a kind of a beacon of hope, right? Like down in New Orleans, you know what I mean? When that happened, you had the Saints, you had the Pelicans kind of playing for the city, and things like that. But I think they need to realize that although they're superstar athletes, they're still human first. So they need to understand that their ultimate safety is what's needed, right? And is not the same with or without fans. But if I had to talk about just the business of basketball and what I would do, and I know we talked about this offline, is just have some centralized locations. If you feel like you need to do the season, if that was the best option that we had to redo the season, do kind of a reduced playoff.
Yeah.
Format, right? And have centralized locations though, like regional kind of locations to play out the regular season and then figure out the playoff structure. I mean, it's a good thing is not falling on just one person. But yeah, I mean that probably would be my 2.5 cents with that.
Yeah, and you know what? The thing is, I agree with that. I agree to have a bunch of cities. As a matter of fact, because we love having graphics here and we love having things, I got a little graphic that I think, what do you think about these cities that are coming up? I got a graphic that I think is going to be very impressive. What do you think about that? I think we got a little bit of Seattle up there, if I'm not mistaken, coming up on the map. And I know you're a little bit delayed, but we got that. We also got another city, which to me is a very spectacular city. If you're seeing that right about now, then we got something to cover the Midwest, I think in the middle of the country, and that I think is going to be amazing and pretty cool. And the NBA, for the most part, I think this solves a major, major problem, which is the financial aspect of the NBA, which is something that's happening. And I think it's 5 locations. You divide it up by 5. You have 6 teams in each location, and you let them play out what they're going to play. What do you think about these cities? And by the way, to those listeners, if anybody can figure out, who's watching right now, we're going to do a little quiz. If anybody who can figure out right now what the common ground for these cities is, we will send them a fan-to-fan t-shirt once all this craziness comes out. Fan-to-fan t-shirt that is really cool. I always like to have it. But if they can figure out what the common ground of all 5 of these cities on the screen right now, we will send them a fan-to-fan t-shirt. Calvin, I'm not going to let you know because I know you know what these cities have in common, but what do you think about these cities coming out? What do you think about these cities?
I say you add Hawaii and I'm there. You know what I'm saying? No. No, these would be great locations. She said coronavirus. Jeannie said coronavirus. Too soon?
Yeah. No. Wow. No, that's not what's coming. And by the way, we're gonna give the answer in about a minute, but we'll give the answer in 2 minutes. As a matter of fact, we'll give everybody a chance to take a guess. First person to guess what those 5 cities have in common gets the shirt. So, but yeah, Hawaii, I would love that too. But having those 5 central locations, what do you think about those cities? What do you think about those cities hosting some NBA games?
I feel like they can make it happen. You know what I mean? They seem like pretty good locations in general, and they seem like, I know they're receptive. It seem like places that would definitely be receptive to having the NBA being played there. And I feel like if they had to do the centralized location or the regional locations, these would be some pretty good spots.
I think so. And what I will tell you is that I think that the main problem for the NBA trying to restart the season is that, one, obviously they want to make sure all the players are safe. That's totally what's happening. They're not going to, the one thing that there's been a consistent consensus from the owners, the players, the commissioner, is that they're not going to play in front of fans. They feel like it's not going to be